most people see networking to be like this ATM machine.
Okay.
It's like you have a card, you slot it in, and immediately you expect to see some money coming from it.
True.
And so they go to places and they network with this transactional mentality. I told a story some time ago of how I wanted to get into public speaking. I decided to make a list of people who are event organizers, and I reached out to them. They rejected Paa Kwesi Folson. Branding is whereby you go from the point of you trying to know people to getting people to know
you. Okay.
A good name is better than riches. The thing is that a good name can get you riches, but riches cannot get you a good name. Yeah. Most people just have a brand, but the people that really profit from their brand are the people that decide to build a brand with demand.
Yeah.
So there are two levels of relationship. There's something called vertical relationships, and then we have horizontal, as in your friends or your colleague.
Hey there, welcome to the maiden edition of the Entrepreneur Spotlight. My name is Jessica Sika Arthur, and I'm going to be your host for this podcast. Today, we're going to be exploring the journey of transforming your personal passions into successful careers. We're also going to be diving into practical strategies, mindset shifts, and skills that require you to turn your entrepreneurial dreams into a reality. So if you're looking out to monetizing your gift or your passion, this conversation is for you. Today, we are being joined by an award-winning public speaker and a business growth and management consultant. As a corporate trainer, he has trained many firms across industries, including real estate, automobile, banking, and human resource. As an entrepreneur, he's the managing director and founder of Revolead Solutions Limited, a human capital and marketing firm that supports firms in turning out high-performance talent and helping organizations make more revenue. Our guest for today is Paa Kwesi Folson. Hi, Paa Kwesi.
Hi, Jessica.
How are you doing?
I'm fine. How are you doing as well?
Very well. It's really good to have you.
It's a pleasure to be here.
We've been looking forward to having you. So this is like a dream come true.
Yeah, right. Finally, we made it here. So
I think recently you posted something on your Instagram page, and it was about you watching a TED Talk every day for almost like 9 months.
Yeah.
It felt a bit unrealistic. How did you do it?
No, when you really want to get something done, you do it. So that's why in that post I gave the backstory to it. As in, I went for a debate and my team lost, and I was the rebuttal speaker, and I really felt like it was my fault at the time. And so because of that, I really decided, and I took a decision that I'm going to get better at public speaking.
Wow.
And when you take a decision, that means that you have to be able to really focus and take that decision. The word decision or decide comes from the Latin word known as decidere. And decidere means to cut off. That means that I cut off every other option, and I decided to zoom in and focus on building my public speaking skill. So I was watching a TEDx every single day. I set an alarm for it so that I could be able to follow up with that and do that. On the days that I miss, I watch 2 the next day. So if I miss 2 days, I'll watch 3 the next. That's how I do it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So you are saying that it was your decision to be better that fueled your consistency?
Yeah, absolutely. And I also knew that, of course, I was also going to be a professional speaker. So I needed to do something that's going to sharpen my skill so that I don't become mediocre.
Wow. And I also saw another video of yours where you mentioned that a lot of young people come out of school with just a certificate.
Yeah.
They don't have connections and all of that. Do you think it's still the reality of many young people today?
Absolutely. Every time, and it's not even going to stop now. That's why I'm preaching and heralding this message, so that people can now think differently, so that they can think in that 4 square that I gave them, as in credentials, connections, character, competence. These are the 4 things. And so if you're a young person there, what you want to do is that you want to take these 4 C's, take them seriously, develop your character, develop competence, develop connections. You need to be able to connect with strategic people in places, be around the language of power, and also have your credentials. That means you have to finish school. So if I listen to me, finish school and finish well.
First, so please.
And finish well.
Finish school and finish well. Okay, now let's talk about your company, right?
Okay.
I know you're a public speaker.
Yeah.
Would you say that that's what led you to establishing your company? Can you tell us a bit about the journey?
Yeah, exactly. So I'm a public speaker. I'm a full-time public speaker. That you don't find that so much in Ghana, because most people, you see, just like every other profession. So there's some people who every Sunday they go to a park and they play football.
Yeah.
And so they're just playing for fun and they're sweating. But there's another player like Michael Essien or Kudus who is playing, or Haaland, or Mbappe.
Yeah.
And they play and they get paid. It's the same thing with speaking. Some people just do speaking engagements, but I'm a professional speaker. And so I go speak and I get paid to speak and train.
So would you say the difference is because you branded yourself? Because like you comparing
I just decided to be a professional. Like, I just decided to take it as a career path itself.
Okay.
And so, yes, I had to brand myself for that. But yes, so to answer the question, it led me to create a company because now what happened was that I'm training people on certain things. Now I'm doing business with corporations. When I was only 22 years old, I was doing business with multi-million-dollar companies or multi-million-dollar organizations.
Yeah.
And so before you can be able to even get to them, you have to be able to create an entity, a corporate identity that they can be able to resonate with and do transactions with. And so I had to register my company as a limited liability company. And yeah, that's how I got started. And from that, I decided that I was going to be able to build something that was going to last me a long time so that I can be able to transform the space that I'm operating in. And
wow.
That's about it.
Wow. Yeah. Okay, so with all you know now, right, what would you say you would have done differently before starting your company?
Yeah.
With everything you know now, I mean, the experience you've had, as in turning your passion to a career, what would you have done differently?
Okay. I would have branded myself much earlier. That's what I would have done. Okay. So I told a story some time ago of how I wanted to get into public speaking. And so because I thought that, all you need to do is just speak, I decided to make a list of people who are event organizers. What I'll do is that when I see somebody make a post of a flyer, I'll write the event organizer's name down. So that I had a long list. So I was looking out for them on LinkedIn and Instagram. I was trying to reach out to them. And that was my plan. And I reached out to them. They rejected Paa Kwesi Folson. Some of them just even didn't reply me.
I'm sure that was a huge blow to you.
Oh, yeah. Oh, actually was. It actually was. And so what happened was that I then decided that, okay, I looked at the people who were great within my space. I looked at who was the best speaker in Ghana. I found out the person. Then I looked at people like Vusi. I looked in America. I saw Tony Robbins. I saw all these people. And I realized that all these people have built a brand. But I'm here trying to look for opportunities and haven't built a brand. The thing about building a brand is that when you build a brand, you have so much leverage whereby you don't have to chase opportunities. You begin to attract opportunities. And the moment you begin to attract opportunities, it changes the whole ball game. Because branding is whereby you go from the point of you trying to know people to getting people to know
you. Okay. Okay.
And so I decided to brand myself. You see, in Proverbs 22 verse 20, in Proverbs 22 verse 1, it says, a good name is better than riches. Many people don't know that the Bible is talking about branding.
Wow.
A good name is better than riches. The thing is that a good name can get you riches, but riches cannot get you a good name.
That's a huge one thing. Wow.
So I decided that, okay, I needed to brand myself. And afterwards, the money and cash flow, the income, the opportunities, the influence, the impact, all of that was going to come. And so that's what I wish I had known earlier. It would have made my journey shorter. I would have been able to do a few more things earlier, but I'm glad I still figured it out. And here I am. So that's one of the things that I'll tell everybody or anybody else that wants to get into public speaking. You need to decide to learn how to build a brand. Learn how to, and when I'm talking about a brand, I'm not just trying to say, try and dress nicely or look polished.
I think that's what a lot of people think.
I'm talking about being able to leverage digital platforms to build an identity, a reputation in the minds of people that opens doors for you without you even necessarily chasing those opportunities. That's what I'm talking about.
Wow, this is so much. Wow. So it means that you would have actually taken time to build your brand before getting into the company.
I would have sculpted everything, what exactly my message was, how exactly I wanted to be viewed by people. I would have sculpted so many different things, but I didn't plan that early enough. And so I tried to launch earlier than I did, and it didn't work. Exactly. Yeah. So basically, that was about everything. So branding myself.
So, I mean, as the founder of your company now, I'm very sure there are times where you face setbacks and challenges.
Definitely.
How does your passion for public speaking keep you going?
Okay, so
how does it keep you?
You see, when it comes to passion, most people don't even understand what passion is. Now, if you ever hear me using a lot of Latin and Greek, it's just because in 2018 or from 2018, I've been studying something called etymology. Etymology is simply the study of the root and origin of words and languages. And so the word passion, I know most people think of passion and think of what do I love to do? Okay. But passion comes from the Latin word known as passionem. Passionem means to endure, to suffer. Okay.
I guess a lot of people didn't know this.
Yeah.
A lot of people.
To endure, to suffer.
To endure, to
And
suffer.
so,
Okay.
like it either means to endure or to suffer. And so before it was used in a religious context.
Okay.
Whereby we were talking about the passion of Christ. You've ever heard that saying before?
Yes,
it's even a movie.
Yes, it's a movie.
Yeah, the passion of Christ.
Yes.
That's what passion was known for. So originally passion was meant in the sense that you are willing to suffer for something that you deeply care about. And so when people talk about passion, they think that passion is just about what you love, but it's not about that. It's about being able to be willing to care for something enough that you can suffer for it.
Wow.
So what do I mean? When I experience setback, I understand that passion is not just me doing something that I love, but it's me doing something that I'm willing to suffer for and endure. So when I experience my setback, I understand that that's what passion is all about. Most people don't understand that and say, "Oh, you don't have to focus on your passion and all of that." No, because they don't understand what passion is.
It's deeper than they think.
Yes, true passion is about suffering because Christ suffered on the cross. That's the original meaning of passion.
Wow.
And so the moment the moment you discover your passion, setbacks are not going to put you back. Exactly. So that's really about everything. And so when I face those kind of things, I know that this is just a stepping stone instead of it being a stumbling block. Okay. Most people have to be able to reframe what those blocks are. Most people see blocks as a stumbling block, but I've decided to see it as a stepping stone. The moment you begin to change your perspective about life and situations and setbacks, it changes the whole ballgame for you.
Wow.
And so yeah, that's about it. And so yeah, when I experience setbacks, I just understand that this is my passion. It comes with suffering. I have to be willing to endure that.
So that's what keeps you going, no matter what happens.
100%, 1000%.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so for someone watching you, they're thinking, it looks like Papy had it so easily.
Yeah.
I mean, he's now the founder of this wonderful company, and to them, it looks hard. I mean, maybe I can talk. I know how to dance. I want to translate that, passion or talent into a career. What do I need to do? What are some of the mindset shifts I need to have? What strategy do I need to, get before I get there?
So one of the things that you really need to focus on after you've been able to discover your passion, because most people don't even take time to discover their passions. Okay. So once you discover your passion, the next thing that you have to do is that you have to learn how to deploy your passion into work so that it can be able to yield fruit for you.
Okay.
And so what I'm trying to say is this. When you've discovered your thing, one of the things that you need to understand is that your passion or your gift is not meant for you, it's meant for the world.
Wow. Okay.
In other words, it's meant for other people.
Other people.
So most people just are there, they think, oh, I'm so good at public speaking. Oh, I'm so good at drawing. Oh, I'm so good at sewing or understanding fashion. But it's not just for you. It's not for you to just admire.
Yeah.
The moment you leave it at that admiration phase, you never ever progress. You have to transcend from that admiration phase to the deployment phase, whereby you give it to the world. You send it to the world. And so that's what people have to understand. And so one of the things that you need to understand is that you need to be intentional about delivering that and focusing on it, on giving that to the world. So for me, when I discovered my passion with regards to public speaking and help people to break free from that, from the fear or the struggle of public speaking, I had to understand that, first of all, I have to figure out what people want and match it with my ability to be able to help them go out of that thing or help them to be able to achieve a particular purpose with that thing. And so most people have to then figure out what other people want and do not be so fixated on what you want.
Okay.
And that's one of the biggest mindset shifts that comes with understanding your passion and discovering your purpose and all of that. And that's what usually changes the ballgame. So that's like mindset number one. Mindset number two.
Sorry to cut you short.
That's fine.
I think I read a post of yours on LinkedIn and you mentioned that there's a very big difference between having a brand and having a brand that has demand.
Yeah.
And I think it's just in line with what you mentioned earlier on, that sometimes people think, okay, this is what I have, and I think this is what is best.
Yeah.
But it's so different from what the world needs.
Exactly.
So can you just make it in line with what you posted, and let's see how it
Yeah. So
Okay.
Most people just have a brand, but the people that really profit from their brand are the people that decide to build a brand with demand.
Yeah.
So there's a difference between having a brand and having a brand with demand.
Okay.
Now, when you are building a brand with demand, you have to learn how to optimize your life or optimize your gift in a certain way whereby you are able to then have a lot of demand. So, for example, ever since I started professionally as a speaker, I average about 70 speaking engagements every single year.
Wow, 70.
Yeah.
Wow, that's huge.
As we get, yeah.
Do you think you ever get to that point? I mean, when you started out, did you envisage something like that?
I envisage me being successful. Living in the reality of it is a different thing.
It's a different,
and so, yes, I envisage me being successful. Otherwise, I wouldn't have decided to go all out in it.
Yeah.
And so, yes, it's a big part of everything. One thing I preach a lot is vision. I talk about vision a lot just because you cannot do anything outside of the way you envision something, okay? There's no way that you're going to succeed in any endeavor outside of the way you are able to envision it. And so, first of all, when you enter into any space, whether it's your passion or your gift, if you don't see yourself as somebody who's going to serve the world, you will never ever walk into that.
So mindset has a very important role to play.
It's not even very important. It's so integral.
So wow.
Literally.
Wow.
Literally. In fact, your mindset always has to even come before your skill set or your gift.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, once you've discovered the gifts, that is fine. Most people just then go and then they are out there doing things. And then they realize that, this gift and the passion that they have, they're out there giving it to the world, but then they don't feel any fulfillment from that. Why? Yeah. Because they decided not to optimize their mindset for that. So when it comes to being able, when they face a little setback and all of a sudden they are just there, they say, passion doesn't pay. Who told you that?
Say that
yeah, a lot of people say that.
I've heard it before.
And that's why I started with what I told you, the passion from Latin.
Yes.
Passion pays.
Wow.
If you're willing to endure.
So aside the very first mindset shift you gave, is there any other one, aside that?
Let's end it.
Or maybe any strategy you think they can, because I mean people, it's the way people see you to be, he had it so easily, like so people think that way, so they want to know if there's any secrets, if there's any.
So this is the thing. So I wanted to make a reference to something, but it's just escaping my mind. That's fine. But the thing is this, you see, the formula for getting opportunities in life, regardless of your endeavor, regardless of what you're doing, is this: visibility plus ability equals opportunity. Can I say that again?
Of course.
Visibility plus ability equals opportunity.
Right.
The Bible says, "Seest thou a man diligent in his skill, he shall stand before kings." Seest thou stands for visibility. Diligence stands for ability. Standing before kings is opportunity.
That's a very deep one. Are you sure you're not a pastor?
I'm not a pastor, not at all. The Bible is not just a book on how to be able to get to heaven.
Yeah.
It's a business book, it's a branding book, it's a health book.
Wow.
And so I see it from that angle, not necessarily
so holistic.
So when I look at the Bible, I look at it as a business book. So many people listen, I'm not a pastor, I'm far from that. So when you see me listening to drink or something, don't come and come for me, please. Don't have those perceptions. So what I'm trying to say is this: after you have your ability, you have to figure out a way to gain visibility, and that's where people don't understand. Or that's where a lot of people miss the whole thing. So you need to be able to then focus your energies on putting yourself on a digital platform. So what I did was this, and this is what anybody listening to me can do, and it's something that I like to call digital dominance. First of all, you want to figure out one platform, digital platform, that you want to build your brand on. That means you want to build your name. I told you Proverbs 22 is a good name.
It's better than riches.
Yes, exactly. So you want to build that good name, that brand, on one platform first.
Okay.
As in, you can be on other places, but there's one where you are focusing like 90% or 80% of your energy on building on that platform. When you've built to a certain extent, then you can decide to move. That's what I did. I decided to build on LinkedIn first. And so I had an optimized presence. Now, the thing is this, you see, I just didn't decide to go on LinkedIn. I did my research as to where exactly will the people that I want to see me, where will they be? So you have to first of all kind of think of where the people that you want to see. If you're a dancer, you want to focus on being on TikTok or something.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's what you want to do.
So identifying your target audience is very important.
It's crucial.
Okay.
It's tremendously important.
Okay.
And so you want to figure that out. So one platform, then you go 2, then you go 3. But even the 2, you have to conquer the second one before you move again.
You move. Okay.
Unless maybe you have a team. Most people that you see blowing up, they have teams, and those teams are able to then take off that part of
they having to
exactly, and they can do all those platforms at once.
Right.
But if you don't have that, you want to focus on one and do that. And so that's where you can get the visibility from. Another thing about visibility is this: you need to be around the people who are already dominating within your space.
Okay.
And that's where a lot of people miss it.
Okay.
Most people are not around the people who are dominating within their space enough. You see, Peter, can I say this?
Sure.
Peter, John, James in the Bible, I don't use a lot of Bibles, but
you have to
they were not getting, they would not have been so relevant had they not been following the master.
That's true.
And so the thing is this: you need to be around the people who are dominating. That's the whole thing. So you need to at least try and figure out how they went about everything. So most people, so what I did was that I looked for the people who were dominating. I attended their workshops. I volunteered for some of the things that they were doing. I decided to serve in different capacities. I can't even tell you like a lot of ways.
But talking about volunteering, a lot of young people don't like to volunteer.
Yeah,
they feel like, pay me.
Everybody wants to be the boss.
So they're not ready to take up that journey you're talking about.
True leadership comes with something I call a service-oriented mentality.
Service-oriented mentality.
True leadership is about service.
Okay.
True leadership is about service. And so that's what I can say for now.
Wow.
And so most people have to then build on a digital platform. If they want, that's a secret, build on digital platforms. There's nothing, and then also look for the people who are dominating in their industry. That will give you an understanding, because the whole thing is this: those people who are dominating already have a blueprint. So what you do is that once you're around there, you begin to spot the blueprint and spot the patterns of the blueprint. And then once you have the pattern, you can always replicate. That's the essence of understanding patterns. One of the gifts or skills that people should be able to develop that has helped me and helped other people that I coach is that we try to understand patterns. Once we understand the patterns, we can always replicate.
Right.
It's something I call the wisdom of the pattern. I teach that in some of my sessions.
Wow. We have to come to your sessions. It's very important. But let's talk a bit about networking. Okay. When you mentioned that you need to connect with those in your space, I think people have an incorrect mindset when it comes to networking.
Exactly.
They just feel like, I need your number and that's it.
Exactly.
After getting the number, they don't even know how to now develop the relationship.
Yeah.
How do they go about that? If they identify the people in their space, how do they maintain a relationship?
So as what? Network. Network. That means you have to work. And so most people, I heard somebody say, networking doesn't work. That's not true. It's just because
you're not working it out.
Exactly, they're not working out. And number one, most people see networking to be like this ATM machine.
Okay.
It's like you have a card, you slot it in, and immediately you expect to see some money coming from it.
True.
And so they go to places and they network with this transactional mentality. Quickly, it's like, they want this immediate result.
What can I get from
exactly?
him?
So they put it in the ATM machine. It's not coming.
Automatically,
network doesn't work.
Yeah.
Exactly. You should be able to. Working means that you should be able to spend time on something. And so that's the whole thing. So once you have that, you should be able to spend time and money. There are certain times that I've decided to try and network with certain people. I have to then figure out how I can get them in a buffet in a certain particular hotel.
Yeah.
So now I'm there in a buffet. You are eating in some big hotel.
We are having a conversation.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's work. I'm putting in the work. My money is working for me. That's how you go about it.
I think a lot of people are not ready to put in the work.
Exactly. And so the moment you begin to understand that, it changes the ballgame. And everybody networks subconsciously or consciously.
Wow.
Everybody. You've networked before. Every opportunity that you've had. Even when you were going for an interview for your job, you were networking when you're doing that.
Yeah.
So most people just don't understand the dynamics of that. The moment you understand that, everything changes. And so yes, how do you network? You need to be able to figure out exactly. First of all, the thing about networking, the real secret of networking is that you have to figure out what you truly like about the person. Okay, you can even network with your enemy if you can decide to find something beautiful about them. I'm telling you. Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely. So most people don't even find something genuinely beautiful about the other people they're trying to network with.
Yeah.
So it almost feels it doesn't feel authentic.
Yeah.
And so what you want to do is that you want to have an authentic relationship. If you intentionally decide to develop interest for somebody else other than yourself, it makes networking smooth.
Yeah.
And it changes the entire ballgame. So first of all, have that. Then you want to work on your social skills or your understanding of the person. So you have to figure out a way that you can, if the person is higher than you, something I call a vertical. So there are two levels of relationship. There's something called vertical relationships, whereby you network with people who are higher than you in terms of not necessarily age, but status in life, those kind of things.
Okay.
And then we have horizontal, as in your friends or your colleagues, not necessarily your age mates, because sometimes your age mates can be verticals.
Yeah.
But necessarily people who are just within the same domain as you in life. It could be your work colleagues that you're eating your banku with every time at lunch, whatever it may be. So those are your horizontal. Right. The thing is that some of the people who are horizontals will eventually evolve and become verticals. Yeah. So most people only want to network with big people, forgetting their friends, and their friends within the next 20 years will be big.
Eventually get there.
And then you realize that, oh, I should have been closer with this person. And so that's the whole thing about the thing. So first of all, you have to understand that. But in this case, I'm talking about verticals. When you're trying to network with the verticals, what you have to do is that you have to figure out, usually verticals already have a lot of things going on in their lives. Yeah. So they're already valuable people. And so if they're valuable, you have to come with value. The word value comes from an old word, or originates from a word known as valoir. That word means worthy. And so you have to find out something that can be worthy to them, something that they can find precious. And so it could be anything. So figure out something in their lives. For most people, one of the easiest ways, and this is a networking hack that I'm giving to everybody there, one of the easiest ways is this: organize an event, especially if the person is a big person in the corporate space. Organize an event. It could be a webinar, little webinar. A webinar is what? A webinar is nothing more than a glorified Zoom call or Google Meet call. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
just go press the link.
Glorified Zoom call.
Yeah, exactly. Call a webinar. And so that's the whole thing. So you get that thing.
Okay.
And you send the big person an invitation, hello, and you don't even need to speak. Just be the moderator and get them to speak. People want to share ideas. Yeah. And automatically now they see that, oh, you are trying to do something valuable in the marketplace, in the ecosystem out there. It changes the ball game. And so one of the ways that you can be able to really, really network, especially with those verticals, one easy way is an event. Events is mad leverage. And so once you have that, that's good. Yeah,
Okay, so with regards to you saying that,
that's like for people within the corporate space, kind of. Serious,
I think some people also have a challenge when it has to do with reaching out to those big people for events.
True.
Sometimes they feel like, okay, am I using the right platform? Or, must I write a letter? Or I even heard someone say that, hey, these big people, when you write to them, they will not even mind you.
That's the thing. So you have to try.
So that's the hard work you were talking about.
Yeah, that's the hard work I'm talking about. You have to be willing to try if you really want to connect with the person. Yeah, you have to be willing to try. There are so many people that have texted. Plenty of people that have texted.
It's a lot of work.
Oh, a lot of work. There was this one person that I texted some time ago that, I can help with. Now that time I hadn't blown. Like now. Okay, I'm still blowing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't think I was like now.
Yeah.
And I reached out to them. I reached out. I don't reach out to people for opportunities. But
people reach out to you.
Yes, it's building a brand. Okay. It says was goodness and mercy shall
follow you, of course.
Okay, so you're not the one supposed to be doing the.
I know.
Exactly. That's when you've really built a great brand.
Wow. Okay.
So by the way. And so I reached out to them and said, oh, I want to do this. They didn't reply me. Guess what? A couple of years after, now they've seen that this guy is reached out to me, sent me a message. I took my 3 days and I replied. And so you see, it's just a matter of time.
Yeah.
But you still have to be able to reach out because you may never know. It could be your good day, it could be your lucky day. And so you've got to reach out. I've had a lot of people, very, 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 very profound people. I've had them on on different initiatives. And it was all because I had to send a message. Yeah.
Okay. Wow.
So take that chance, take that risk.
This is excellent. I think a lot of people need to reorient their mindsets on the fact that it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
You need to put in the work.
Yeah. Let's work.
To have it work.
Exactly.
Okay. So now let's talk about the potential risk that can come up when you are turning your whether it's your passion or your talent into a career.
Okay.
I think a lot of people sometimes they've listened to everything you said and they feel like, oh wow, I'm eager to start. I'm ready to, get on the journey. Can we talk about certain downsides to it? How they can handle those things?
Oh yeah. Mostly. So when it comes to being able to monetize your passion, okay, the biggest downside is the issue of income and cash flow and money. Okay. So that's why there are so many people who have so many. They have a very wonderful gift. They have a passion to be able to do something, but they are just so scared that, how can I do this full time?
And they feel like it's more safer when it's a side hustle.
Exactly.
Not a full time.
Exactly. And that's the thing. That's because people have been pushing the narrative that passion doesn't pay.
Yes.
And that's why I started with that anyway. So anyway, back to what I'm saying. So the whole thing is this. Most people think that, it's not going, how can they be able to get paid from it? But now you see, dancers are getting paid. We see full-time dancers now.
Yes.
Now, they're full-time public speakers, like Paa Kwesi Folson. Okay? So whatever you want to do, that's the biggest issue. And so one of the things that you need to focus on when you are trying to go into being able to, like, one of the biggest risks that people experience comes with finance. Because finance is even what sometimes you can be there, you can have a passion for something, but you can lose friction with your passion when there's no money coming in. I'm telling you.
That's true.
There are certain times where there was a time that I went through a phase. And in that phase, I'm telling you, we're getting invites and I didn't even know whether to go speak. And it's all because now so that's why you have to be able to focus your energies on, okay, this is my passion, but how can I be able to properly turn my passion into a business? The moment you begin to focus on laser focus and hyper focus on that, I'm telling you, create opportunities and income streams within your passion or your gift. And so that's the biggest risk. How can I do that full time? How can I deploy myself and dedicate myself fully into that? And so, that's one of the things. So how do you go about that? Let me just, for anybody listening to me, one of the things that you can do, and it could be a passion about anything. I've had the ability of coaching a lot of people. People literally come to me and say, they have the passion of seeing teenagers enter into their purpose. People come to me and say, they have this passion of helping marriages flourish. I've had different people, who have different passions in different spaces and different things. And there are majorly 3 primary ways of being able to monetize your passion. Number 1 is something I call provide. So you want to provide that. So for example, if you are a public speaker, you provide public speaking services. So you go speak on the stage you get paid. You go do this training, you get paid for it. There's another thing called consulting. Now, consulting is whereby people who are within your space, you give them advisory or expertise to them. So the value is in the expertise. So it could be for anything. Okay, you could actually, so people want, that's one way to be able to add more into your income. It's something that is even known as part of the things that King Solomon was doing. The Queen of Sheba came to him, King Solomon. And the Queen of Sheba was asking how he was able to run his kingdom. And so he was giving her knowledge on that. That's consulting. So consulting wasn't even started now. It originates from that time. And so the whole thing is this. You can consult for people within your space. So if you're a dancer, there are other dancers who want to know how to be able to build a dancing brand. You can be able to start running a little consulting program and be doing that and be getting more money other than you necessarily dancing. So dancing itself is the word provide. So you are dancing and you get paid for it. So providing is when you are providing your direct skill or gift. You are deploying that for direct benefit or money or something like that. Then you have consulting. Then you have coaching. Coaching is different from consulting. Consulting is you are giving expertise. It's usually for a long. It could be depending on whatever time. But coaching is deeper. Coaching is like I'm holding your hand and walking you through
the journey.
Exactly, even through the fire, through everything, and that's a different. So you can develop a coaching program. And so something that a lot of people have to get into is something called the knowledge economy, whereby you can be able to take your passion, turn it into knowledge, and monetize the knowledge. And most people in Ghana don't even understand that. I'm telling you, the knowledge economy is one of the biggest and uprising economic infrastructures that we have. And if we can do that in Africa, I'm telling you, you'll be shocked the amount of money people will be making decide to monetize their knowledge. And when I started monetizing my knowledge, I'm telling you, life was It wasn't easy at first because there were not so many people doing it in my space here in Ghana, but I figured it out and I made it happen.
Wow.
And so, yes, you can monetize your knowledge.
Now, let's talk about some of the things you love doing.
Some of the things I love doing, honestly, I'll say this, I love reading.
Obviously, I'm not surprised.
I love reading. Reading brings me a lot of joy, allows me to relax, allows me to download the experiences of other people. You see, in life, there are two ways that you can learn. There's first-hand experience and second-hand experience. And so when I read, I get second-hand experience because I live through their lens and how they went about their lives so I can avoid certain mistakes. And so I do read a lot. Number two, I listen to a lot of music. So I really, really love music. In fact, there was a time in my life where I was literally writing album reviews for people. So I'll take your album and I'll break it down and explain it musically and explain the music behind it. Okay, people just hear the songs, but I explain the music and the melodies and everything. So from production to vocals to everything. So I used to do that. So I love music and I love music. Sorry, and I love listening to a lot of albums. So yeah, I love albums a lot. Probably one of my most favorite albums is Manifest. Manifest has an album called Paa.
Okay.
So it's one of my most favorite albums ever. I love that album. Then I also love football. And so yeah.
A lot of guys like football. And I've actually
definitely
seen guys fight because of my team lost, my team did this, my team did that. Why do you think they're so passionate about it?
It's a sport. And so the thing about sports is that sports, there's always this win-lose thing. And so people then are excited about that thing because nobody wants to lose, everybody wants to win. And so that win-lose dynamics is what makes sports beautiful. And the thing is when it comes to football, just like one of our people was saying, it's about the bragging rights. And so when you're attached to something, just like some ladies, we are talking about men in this case, but some ladies too are also very much attached to certain personalities, celebrities. You hear some of them talking about different things or even movies and those kind of things. So as long as you have a certain attachment to a certain team and club and everything, you have that thing. So yeah, sports has this adrenaline that it brings out of you, and so
Wow, I see. That tells why some people can even go to the extent of fighting.
So if you cut me right now, you see blue. So you know my team.
Okay. So I heard something about you that I want to confirm. I'm told that you used to model, and I'm not surprised because you actually look like one. So can you tell us a bit about that? How you entered that space and now you're a public speaker? Tell us a bit about that.
So that was some time ago.
Okay.
I love fashion. I love anything that has to do with anything that is basically aesthetically pleasing. I love that. And so I used to be within that space, and I love taking pictures. And so even now, even my public speaking, I'm very, very big on my pictures. Everybody that knows I'm moving my own photographer and everything, photographer, because I'm so big on capturing moments and capturing the essence of what's happening in real time. And so I've always been that kind of person. So I used to model. I used to model for a few brands because I had a little afro, and I was just dressing up, taking pictures, wearing a few things. So that's what I was doing. I love that. But so I used to be a model in a rapper. That's But rapper was my main thing. So the modeling just came. And it was actually paying. Like sometimes you get paid gigs and stuff like that. But I realized that within all of those things, you see, the reason why I rap is I love words. And so that is no surprise that I'm doing public speaking. But however, I realized that even though I was doing those things and it was nice, because I love being on set. There was this time where all the shoots was like in the sun and everything. I was like, wow, so just so beautiful, just playing music and enjoying life. It was cool. However, I just realized that within all of that, I still didn't feel a certain level of fulfillment in what I was doing. It was cool, it was fun, but there was no fulfillment. And that, for me, it got to a certain point in time where it was like, I don't know, maybe God was trying to take me through a certain phase, but I just couldn't do it anymore. So on Friday night, April 2021, that's where I decided to go through a period where I discovered my purpose. And so I had to discover my purpose, and that's how I transitioned from being a model into a public speaker. The thing about purpose is this. Purpose comes from the Latin name as propositio. Propositio means a thing intended. Now when you use the word intended comes from what? Intentional. So when most people don't, I hear people say, oh, I can't find my purpose. It's just because they've not been intentional about finding their purpose. When it comes to finding a purpose, you have to be intentional. You have to literally even get a book. Write down the things that you love. Write down the things that you are good at. In between the things that you are good at and the things that you love, you find a purpose there. So you need to do some introspection. Ask yourself questions. Ask yourself, you need to question yourself. And the moment you come into that questioning phase, you find answers. And those answers will provide you with a purpose. And once you have the purpose, I always tell people this. Once you can discover your why, success will never tell you why.
Wow.
And so, for me, I had to really sit down and discover my purpose and go through that process of discovering, and it was so beautiful. I had to discover myself, I had to then develop myself, and then I had to deploy myself. And so these are the things. So basically
that was a good journey. So before we continue, we want to just give a very big shout out to Tomic Hotel for providing us with this beautiful lounge for our podcast. If you're looking out for a place to unwind or just rest, please note that Tomic Hotel is the best place to be. They have very tasty meals and a very wonderful space, as you can see. Alright, so back to you. I think earlier on you were talking about the fact that it's very possible to monetize your passion. Now there is someone out there who's struggling. You know, they've actually started the journey of monetizing their passions, but then they are struggling, and it's at a point they feel like they want to give up. Is this thing really worth fighting for? What would you say to them?
Yeah, mostly when people struggle to monetize things, it's usually because of three things.
Yeah.
Number one, they have a branding problem. If they don't have a branding problem, they have something called a traffic problem. If they don't have a traffic problem, they have something called a conversion problem.
Okay.
So branding, traffic, conversion. Branding, traffic, conversion. And so branding is the way people perceive you. Most people are not being able to really monetize their gifts just because people don't perceive them to be. Imagine you're a public speaker like me, or you're a sales and marketing trainer, whatever you're doing, and nobody really perceives you in that premium light. You're not going to get premium money. And so the reason why you're not being able to properly monetize your gift is because your perception, your branding is wrong. However, there are some people who have great branding. However, even with the great branding and they polishing themselves, having their brand guidelines, having all of that, they don't have enough traffic. Traffic is the amount of eyeballs on you.
I think that also connects to where they have to build their brand in,
on the digital space.
Yes, the digital
exactly.
space.
That it comes with intentionality. It comes with you finding out ways to position yourself in places whereby you get seen.
Wow.
And so there's that. And there's another thing called conversion. Now conversion is when you have a lot of traffic. That means people are seeing you, but you don't know how to convert those eyeballs into money. I didn't say money, I said money.
Money, I got that.
Yeah. And so that's the thing. So it's either of these things. So if you're struggling you have to really look at these three things. It's either you're suffering from branding, a branding problem, you're suffering from a traffic problem, or you're suffering from a conversion problem. I call it the BTC infliction. But I'm not talking about Bitcoin. I'm talking about BTC infliction. This is what it means. And so go look at that if you're somebody who's struggling to monetize your passion. You want to focus on either of these things. Yes, basically that. And another thing is that sometimes the business model that they're using is wrong.
It's wrong.
They're just thinking of, most people are just thinking of it in a very wrong way. How can I provide my service? How can I be dancing on more stages? I told you that there's coaching consulting. You can decide to do that. There's some other people who, for example, let me give this example and I don't think I'll share this. So my dad is a musician and my dad plays instruments. He's in fact, he actually won a Ghana Musical Award.
Wow.
Yeah, what's called TGMA. Before we called it TGMA or VGMA, there was GMA.
Yeah.
He won one of that as the best instrumentalist of the year. And so, apart from him just going about that, people used to come to him, a lot of people, and they said, "Can you teach me how to play the guitar?" And so, he opened a guitar school. And so that is what coaching is, consulting. That's how you think about it. So instead of him just trying to provide that service of delivering or coming with his music team to go deliver at a place, now they're training people, and that brings in some cash flow.
Yeah.
And so these are the things that changes the whole ball game. So most people think about that thing in a very myopic, limited perspective, not so narrow. Broaden your perspective, expand your horizon, and it changes the game.
Wow. So before we wrap up, let's talk a bit more about your company.
Okay.
Regulatory Solutions
Yeah.
Limited. What do you do for those who are wondering? What exactly do you do?
So, at Reveille Solutions Limited, we do two things. We do human capital development and we do marketing. Now, we are a professional growth company, and that means that we are called to serve people. So, everything that we're doing, we're serving people, we're serving organizations. And so, what we do is this. With human capital development, we do a lot of trainings and speaking, and that's where a lot of the speaking comes from. So, when you book me as a speaker, you're paying a company. And so, we train people on soft skills. So we have a public speaking training. So we have a particular workshop called the Present Your Power workshop, where we take people and then what we do is this: we turn their public speaking into a superpower. We make public speaking a superpower for them. And so we take them into that workshop and we make sure that they come out as top tier communicators. So we give that to that workshop. We take it to companies. We take that workshop to, we either do private workshops or we take it to companies. And so, yeah, that's what we do with that. So we do soft skill training. We also do a lot of leadership seminars and things like that where people pay and join our programs. We also do like long-term coaching stuff. So we have like big coaching programs and those things. It's mainly on public speaking, communication, sales, and marketing. And then we also do actual providing of marketing services. And so with the marketing, we have an agency where so with that, we have an agency whereby we are able to then provide marketing services, digital marketing services. So we help, our ideal clients are coaching and consulting companies, especially in Ghana. There's so many people who are in the coaching and consulting space, they don't know how to monetize. But apart from that, we also help tech companies. And then we have a lot of people in the boring sectors, as in mining, real estate, those kind of people. They're also part of our clients. So we don't do the marketing for them. As in, you have your products, but can we be able to build your brand on the digital space? Can we be able to market so that you get money and revenue? Because revenue and sales is the lifeline and the oxygen of your business. And so basically, that's what we help people do. And yeah, that's really about everything.
Wow. It's such a great time. I wish you could go on and on because you said a lot, you shared a lot of valuable insights. And I'm sure our listeners have been really inspired for those who are struggling to monetize.
Absolutely.
They're like, I've seen someone who has done it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Let me just chip in this. So if you look forward to monetizing your knowledge, especially in Ghana, don't just think about your skill sets, because most people just try to monetize their gifts, but also think about the tool sets. We're in Ghana whereby you have a lot of infrastructure problems in terms of getting finances, because we're in Ghana. If I'm telling you to monetize your knowledge and you have a client that's overseas, because I have clients in the UK, how do you then get the pounds? How do you get the money? Because you don't have Stripe, you don't have PayPal. How do you get the money? So you now have to figure out all those things. One of the best platforms you can use, and I'm not marketing for them, I'm just saying something that is based on my experience, is Seller. You can use Seller. Selar, literally. Once you use Seller, you can be able to then have a gateway for payments and systemize all of your coaching programs, the consulting programs, literally on one platform. Is beyond the game changers for me. And so if you're listening to me, this is one of the most valuable things I can give you, a tool. It's called Selar, Selar.com. Once you have that, it's going to change everything. So you have a tool set. So you have a way, because I'm talking about monetizing your passion and everything, but how do you do it and get money from it, from other people in different countries and everything? That's the whole thing, yeah. Because it's important finally to also get currency from, to get money from other places other than your country, like getting the dollar. Even though it's still dropping, it's still significantly higher than the output.
That's true.
And so, yeah, that's the whole thing.
That's true. Thank you so much, Papy Fen.
You're welcome.
It's been wonderful, very insightful. And I know that someone out there has gained a lot just by listening to it. And people are so happy because they see their dreams come true just by watching you. You know, they feel like, I really want to do this and I'm seeing someone do it. So it's very inspiring to them. We are really, really grateful to you. Thank you so much for joining us. Okay, so please do well to follow Africa Street MBA on all our social media handles. We're on LinkedIn, Twitter, and Instagram. We are Africa Street MBA on these channels, so please do well to follow us. And so once again, we really appreciate you. One of the major takeaways for me was that visibility plus ability equals opportunity. Yeah. So because everything you said is literally summed up in that, that phrase. Yeah. And personally, I've been blessed by it. Thank you so much for joining us.
You're welcome.
And our next episode is going to be on money management. I hope this episode blesses you. And don't forget to tune into our next episode. See ya.